Hi, thank you for tuning in to the first half of the co-parenting seminar, Eliminating the Mess and Creating Two Separate and Loving Homes for Children of Separated Couples. I first want to start off by saying I am 100% committed to healthy families. So all of the correspondence in which I deliver via online platform is normally geared towards creating the healthy family and trying to remove the stigma from psychotherapy, of course, but more importantly, making people feel more comfortable with the process of psychotherapy and the element of going to someone for assistance in situations where you can't necessarily make things better on your own. I want to start off by saying that we as people are all interconnected in some kind of a way, and what you do does very much affect the next person and what they do and how their lives unfold. So whether this is a personal belief of yours or not, I want you to keep that in mind during all of the training in which you guys and advisement that you guys receive from myself or any of my team members here at Familial Bonds. A little bit of self-disclosure. For me, separation has always been about growth. I feel like I've been a student of the human condition for a very long time, and I study people. Not only people, but what motivates people to be and do and inquire into the things and all of that in life that they do decide to be a part of. And what I found is that regardless of how much we want to say, I'm over this, or I'm over him, or I'm over her, or I'm starting a new chapter in my life, oftentimes we forget to remain connected and stay in touch with the elements of our past that define us, okay? Now, you're always defined by your previous relationship, your previous exposures, your previous experiences, all of that. Even your rearing originally. What I see a lot of people do is, try and run away from their past and try and erase their past as if that's possible. Guess what? You can't erase elements of your past. You can't erase people from your past. All you can do is continue to grow and hope that your growth is positive, and conducive to the life in which you aspire to build. Okay? So, this first video is vetted to getting to know you. Okay? Getting to know you. When we have children, when we get married, when we go off to school for the first time, when we enter into another area of education, junior high school from elementary school, or middle school from elementary school, high school from middle school or junior high school, all of those transitions in life require that we make some type of adjustment. Okay? Just think about it developmentally. We're moving into the next chapter of our lives, but we're not dumping off the old material. We're growing. Okay? So as we move along this transition, we're meant to be productive and positive and build upon the application of skills that we previously were exposed to. Your relationships are just like that. You should be building on that previous exposure at every stage of your developmental process as an adult, as a human being, period. So let's talk about that previous relationship and how it defined you. Okay? Because that requires transition, right? Okay, so you had to change when you entered into that relationship. When you exited or when you transitioned out of that nature of relationship into another chapter of that relationship, which is where you are now, you're no longer a companion of that person. But who's to say you guys weren't friends before? Maybe you were strangers. But now, since you've had a child or children with that person, you now have a lifelong commitment, whether your relationship remains a companionship or not. So let's talk about what that now looks like and how you can define yourself from how the relationship shaped you to how you are and where you are right now. So during the time that you were in this relationship, you had to make significant adjustments to you as you grew personally, as you grew filially. And what that means is with that person that you were in a relationship with your children, as children came into the equation, with extended family, as they became a, constant part of that situation. All of that required, that you make necessary shifts in your personality, in your being, okay? And the way your previous relationships have shaped who you are will determine how you define who you are today. Okay? So, let's say you were in a relationship with a person for X number of months or X number of years, and the nature of that relationship was an intimate partner relationship, companionship. And the two of you were, for the most part, committed to one another. During that time, you decided to become parents. Okay? In that decision to become parents, you had a significant discussion that led you to feel comfortable with moving into another stage, comfortable with your current growth, comfortable with your current position in life and in your relationship, to where you felt like, okay, now we can move on to the next chapter. That changed you. The you that you were when you went into the relationship isn't the same person that decided, now I want to pursue a long-term commitment with this person or have a child with this person, because that's pretty much what parenthood is. It's a lifelong commitment, because yes, our children do grow up and they turn 18 and they move out, go on to college and all of that, but the relationship between the parents of the child should always remain intact, because there are other things and life transitions that those children as adults are going to go through, and it requires the attendance of both parents. Okay? So it's a lifelong commitment, however you look at it. And this changed you. Okay? It changed who you were as a person, because now you're transitioning to being a caretaker, a provider, a source of empowerment, of guidance and structure. And when you made that change, the relationship was responsible for it, because the nature of that relationship at that time is what led to that opportunity. Okay? And that discussion that the two of you had, it led to you understanding what those responsibilities just may look like. So let's talk about how it impacted your views. Well, for one, you were able to sit down and have a fluid conversation with someone else about their views. and your expectations, your wants and your needs versus their wants and their needs. And at the end of the conversation, you both decided to have a child or children. Okay? That gave you validation in your feelings. You felt like you could be a parent. So that's the first positive thing that person did for you in the relationship. They gave you validation and support. And then you guys decided to embark upon the great journey of becoming parents. From then on, everything that you decided to do was a collective decision for the most part. And where there was division and decisions, you saw friction, okay, which caused your system to react. And problems in the relationship normally occurred. The way you responded to those problems also helps to shape who you are, and how you are right now. The way you responded to all of the elements of change that took place in that relationship helped shape who you are as a person. Okay? The way your relationship ended helped to shape who you are today. The things and the exposures and the experiences that you touched, became a part of, participated in, those things affected who you are today and are heavily responsible for the way you view yourself today. You either review yourself as the person who does not want to be like you were in that relationship, or the person who aspires to grow and continue to be that person and then better. So take a moment and reflect on the type of person that you are. Take a moment and reflect on the elements of you that make you you. And then when you're done and you've compiled a list of 10 essential elements that define who you are as an individual and in the same sense as a parent, you are now ready to move to the next module. I hope this has been helpful.